2021 004609, Vicky Tate. That will be our first case. Second case will be number 10, HA 2021 003568, Tang Young Nguyen will be number 2. Our third case will be HA 2021 001286, Adeline Volpe and Kelly Neary. That will be case number 3. Number 4 will be HA 2021 002601, Kun Young Zeng. That will be number 4. And number 5 will be HA 2021 002606, Ronnie Montesino. And we will hear them in that order. And then after that, we will hear them if we have additional time and we don't lose quorum, we will continue to hear the balance of the calendar for today. So I'd ask everyone to be as crisp and sharp as you possibly can so that we can get as many of these matters resolved as possible today. And again, I apologize for the need to truncate today's hearing to some degree. Okay, thank you very much. The board will introduce itself just for a moment. The board and the board and the staff will introduce themselves, then we will call the first case. I'm Kenneth Woodson, board chair.
Ralph Pincus, board member.
I know Steve Pettit is on the line.
Mr. Pettit?
I'm acting like they mind.
Okay, we've probably, seems like we've lost our other board member, Steve Pettit, who was on the line a minute ago. He's not connected at the moment.
Let me,
Okay. Yeah, yes, Mr. Pincus, you would try to call him. If we could have the other staff introduce themselves as we get through this. Michelle?
Michelle Rand, Board's Administrator.
Mathis, Board's Review.
Ed Jefferson?
Ed Jefferson, counsel for the board.
Thank you very much. Just so everyone is aware, I'm sure you are, that these proceedings are being recorded both by Zoom and our court reporter. And you probably see an image of our court reporter there, Ms. Thompson. As soon as we reconnect with our third board member, we will start. Michelle, do you have something?
Yeah, I believe our fifth case was going to be number 9, Mohammed Rashid, correct? For 6400 Roosevelt Boulevard. I think we had announced number 8.
Oh, yes, that's my apology. You're absolutely correct. My apology. Please make that correction. The fifth case will be number 9, HA 2021 002607, Mohammed Rashid. That would be our fifth case.
Excuse me, my name's Joseph Lund, and I'm an attorney here representing LQD Fairdale Smoke Shop. I believe it's number 11. I don't know that you call that. Does that mean that I'm not going on today?
No, it means that that doesn't necessarily mean you aren't going on. We have we're going to lose quorum at 4:50, and so we're trying to get in several cases before that occurs. Hopefully, we can get to you before we lose quorum.
Okay.
I'd like to. I have the person representing the city for cases that's the appellant Ronnie Montesino and Mohammed T. Rashid. Both those, who's representing those cases for the city?
Nakia Clark on behalf of the city of Philadelphia.
Okay, Ms. Clark, in those two matters, is there legal counsel representing those two appellants?
I represent Mr. Rashid.
I'm sorry, and that person is who?
Bart Levy.
Okay, yes, okay, thank you.
I'm representing the case for Ron Montesino, and there is no counsel listed for that case.
From Montesino, there's no counsel listed?
I am from Montesino's. He's not here at the moment, but
and you are?
He's not here at the moment. I'm representing him.
You are who?
Or Jennifer.
You have to give us your full name because the court report has.
Jennifer Orozco.
Okay, are you an attorney?
No, he just wants to make another appointment for a Zoom so he could get in touch with the lawyer.
So he wants to continue his case. Well, he'll have to, when we call his case, we'll have to make that, but you cannot represent him. Only a lawyer can represent him.
Okay, so then I should call the lawyer and let him get.
Well, you should call, no, you should call Mr. Martesino, tell him he needs to be present when we call his case, or it may be dismissed. So he needs to become active in this hearing. You can't sit in for him.
Okay.
Okay? Thank you very much.
Members of the
any-
board, just for the record, I am representing the city on the Mohammed T. Rashid matter. I see Mr. Levy as counsel.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Pincus, any luck?
Yeah, Mr. Pettit is on the line. He can confirm that he is here. He is in attendance. Mr. Pettit?
Yes, I am. I can hear everything going on.
Okay, thank you very much. So let's, Dana, we've identified everyone. Let's read in the first case we will do, number 12.
Okay. Case number 12, appeal number HA-2021-004609, Vicky Tate for 922 West Somerset Street.
Okay, thank you very much. Who's representing the city in this matter?
Hi, this is Christopher Johnson for the city of Philadelphia.
Okay.
I'm trying to ascertain that my witness, Inspector Shondell Wilborn, is on the call. Is there an inspector here for 922 West Somerset Street? I just sent him an email. If it please the board, could we hold this until after the interpreter case?
Well, it may or may not, depending on timing. You may not be.
Good afternoon. Can anyone hear me?
Yes.
My name is Inspector Murphy, and I'm in the office with Inspector Wilburn. He's trying to connect right now.
Okay.
Okay. Are either of those individuals the person that you need, Mr. Johnson?
Yes. Yeah. Shondell Wilborn is the inspector on that case.
Okay. So do you want to proceed now?
If he's on the line, if he's able to log in, then yes.
He's having connection issues right now.
I mean,
Okay,
I wouldn't object to the board hearing another case first.
Okay, let's move on to the next case then.
Case number 10, appeal number HA-2021-003568, Tan Myung-in, 5321 Rising Sun Avenue, represented by Arthur Panza.
Okay. Who's representing the city?
Can you hear me?
I hear you fine. Are you?
I can.
Hi, this is
Woodson, are you able to hear Mr. Pettit? He just wanted to make sure.
Yes, I can hear him. Yep.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, let's proceed. Who's representing the city in this matter? I didn't hear that.
again, this is Christopher Johnson for the city of Philadelphia.
Okay. Alrighty.
And I would ask, there's a lot of people on the call. Is there an inspector here for 5321 Rising Sun Avenue?
Right.
And it just by way of explanation, this is an appeal. The violation is related to a building permit, new construction. It was work beyond the scope of a permit for having installed multiple gas and electric meters at the property without proper zoning. There was zoned as a single family dwelling, but they had installed more than one electric meter and more than one gas meter at the property. I'm going to ask that we continue this case today in order to let the parties talk and perhaps resolve the matter, because it could be that this is something that could be resolved without the need for a hearing.
Okay.
And I don't believe I have a witness that's available right now, so I would be asking on that basis as well.
Is there anyone representing Mr. Nguyen?
Arthur Panza, sir. Arthur Panza for the
Yes.
For the owner. I haven't had a chance. My client has tried to resolve this before we filed this. We could not get any response. If the case is continued, can you tell us, please? We'd really like to get this addressed. How long of a continuance would it be, if you know?
Well, I think it really, if you're representing him, I think Mr. Johnson is prepared to have a conversation right away. That may be the first step in getting resolved. You may
Okay.
not need to come back.
I understand that. All I want to know, if it can be answered, I understand you have another listing for the 14th of December. Can we go, if the case is continued and not resolved, can we go ahead on the 14th? That's all I want to know.
Okay.
I definitely want to to Mr. Johnson. I think this is resolvable, but we weren't able to connect with anybody. I think it's definitely resolvable.
Okay.
I mean, I'm available that day if that's the question.
Okay. Let's do this, Mr. Panza. I'm not able to answer you regarding that administrative matter in the present. It would be best for you and Mr. Johnson to speak today if possible, and then connect directly with the board's administration to get the best available date coming up. Okay.
Okay.
If there's room on the next hearing, I'm okay with it, but they will have to talk to you about what makes the most sense.
All right. As far as
Okay.
Mr. Johnson's contact information, can I get a number, an email?
I'm going to send you an email right now. I believe I have yours that was forwarded to me by the board about an hour ago. I'll send you an email right now.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
Alrighty. What's next?
Okay.
All right, Mr. Woodson,
Yes.
we're done for now. I can log off.
Yes, sir. Have a good
All
afternoon.
right. All right.
All right. Next, we have case number 5, Adeline Volpe Kelly Neary, sorry, HA-2021-001286 for 6026 Lawndale Street.
Okay, thank you very much. Also, Ms. Rand, would you check the chat? I think there's a question there that you may be able to resolve. Okay, who's representing the city in this matter?
Good afternoon, members of the board. Lauren Curry on behalf of the city in this matter.
Okay, thank you. Is Adeline Volpe and Kelly Neary, are they both present?
No. I don't know, Michelle wants to talk. So Kelly Neary is on. I was her granddaughter and power of attorney and submitted the appeal. Adeline Volpe actually passed away in May. So I have her son, Steve Volpe, who is the executor of her will and estate here to represent her.
Okay, so is Steve Volpe's present? Is he available?
Yep, yes, he's on.
Okay, and Kelly Neary.
Yes.
Okay, now Kelly, your name is not on the deed or part of the estate documents, correct?
No, I was her power of attorney when she was alive and submitted the appeal. That's why I'm here. But yeah, since she passed, legally, I'm not a power of attorney anymore. Obviously, it's the executor's her son.
And the executor is Steve alone, or is there anyone else, Steve?
Yeah, it was his sister also, and I don't know if she is on.
I think the last time we had this hearing, we asked that they both be present.
She had an emergency, sir. Her significant other is in ICU right now. I gave her 5 calls to call in.
The link, yeah.
Okay, so we can't proceed with this.
I sent paperwork so I can represent my mom here.
Yeah, but we need
to Mrs. Rand.
Yeah. Oh boy.
This thing should have been resolved. It was the wrong address. The inspector should know.
Okay, but sir, you understand the last time we heard, because of the legal standing, we needed both persons who was identified as the executors to be part of the hearing, or you needed an attorney to represent the matter. And so everyone agreed to be here. It's understandable that she has some other issues. That's understandable. But we can't proceed without her unless I'm given advice otherwise by Mr. Jefferson. If you send me a text or something as to whether we can proceed. So stand by, everyone.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So I'm going to mute it until.
I'm not sure who that is. Mr. Jefferson, I didn't hear from you yet.
I'm muting myself for a moment.
Okay, Mr. Jefferson, I didn't hear from you yet.
Well,
While Mr. Jefferson is checking for me, Ms. Curry, do you have a hello?
Yeah, Ken, I did send a text. You need both. Obviously, as you said, you need both executors there.
Okay, but you're hearing you. You need to mute. You need to mute yourself.
Okay, but you can hear me now,
Mute
right?
yourself. Mute yourself before we continue the conversation.
Oh, okay, sure will. Thank you. You there? What do you mean mute myself? Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize.
Technology is a wonderful thing, except for when it doesn't work. Ms. Curry, we have the same standing issue we had last hearing.
Okay.
Is there a way to resolve this without coming back?
I am not sure. The city maintains a position that the property owner needs to fix this lateral. So unless the appellants are willing to fix the lateral, we would have to return again.
Okay. Mr. Volpe, we need either both of you or an attorney to represent you. You can't do that alone. So given that there was an emergency, we understand. So I'm willing to list this at the next hearing date and continue to the next hearing and just add it on.
I got one question before we close. The inspector was going out to verify the address because he had the wrong address. Did he get pictures of the new address?
Sir, we can't. I'm sorry. What was that?
Oh, go ahead, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, what I prefer, that kind of conversation happen between the two of you offline. Okay, so does Mr. Volpe have your phone number, Ms. Curry?
He does not. I can.
Would you share that with him?
Okay, let me see.
Can you put it in the chat or something?
Yeah, so you're under Steve's iPad?
Yes.
Okay, I'll leave you my work phone number. I'll also give you my email because I'm only in the office once a week.
So Mr. Volpe, if you would call her or email her, I think, and if those kind of technical things are an issue, you can resolve that without doing the hearing, okay?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll continue this matter. Thank you.
Thank you. And that concludes my matters before the board. May my witness, Anthony Myers, and I be excused?
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Have a good afternoon.
You too.
Okay, what do we have next?
Do we have Inspector Wilborn yet for case 12, Mr. Johnson?
He told me that he's waiting in the waiting room.
Okay. Well, I let somebody in just now, but it's a phone number. That's why I'm asking.
Okay. It is Inspector Wilborn. Are you there?
Okay.
Okay, let's go on to the next matter.
Go ahead. Okay, so we have case number 6, appeal number HA-2021-002601, Kun Young Zhang, 3807 Pulaski Avenue, represented by Eleanor Chen, and we have a Mandarin interpreter, Ms. Youngmei Lee.
Okay,
Mr. Watson,
thank you.
Mr. Watson, excuse me. Just for a bit of a logistic, if Mr.
Your name, please?
Yes, last name is Lee, first name is Youngmei. This is the interpreter.
Yes.
I did send you a text directly requesting that if for interpretation service, may the interpreter have the phone number of the appellant, Mr. Zhang, so that he can just say that in Chinese over Zoom. So the interpreter will take it down and call him, and so that he can hear the interpretation over the phone without any interruption.
Let's do this. Let's do this. Ms. Chen, you understand the request from the interpreter? Is your...
郑先生你好，我是法庭。
Wait, ma'am.
Sorry.
Wait. Ms. Chen, you heard the request. So let's do this in order. I need to swear in the interpreter. Ma'am, you raise your right hand. So you may be sworn. Do you swear or affirm that you will faithfully translate the proceedings from Mandarin to English and English to Mandarin? Do you swear
Yes, I do.
or affirm? Okay, thank you. So let's do this. Ms. Lee, you're representing the appellant, and I don't see them anymore. Oh, there you, Ms. Chen.
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me? I'm not too good on the Zoom thing.
Okay, yes, I can hear you.
Oh, okay, all right.
Okay. Is your client willing to share his personal phone number with the interpreter so that they can communicate during the hearing?
I don't see any problem. But before we start that far, I don't think I ever had a chance to talk to the city's attorney about this matter. Never had a chance. Is there something Mr. Cohen want to talk to me regarding this, or is it waste of time?
Well, if you want to have conversations, you have to do it outside of the hearing. You're in the hearing now. So we do, Mr. Cohen, is there a request for continuance? Is that what we're hearing?
That I don't know, but I think the city's position on this is pretty clear because these are sales to minors that resulted in the denial of renewal of a license. The city is prepared to move forward.
Okay, let's do this so that there may be an opportunity to resolve this. Mr. Cohen, do you have any other matters before us today?
Yes, the matter involving Muhammad T. Rashid, for which Mr. Levy is attached.
Oh, that's number 12, correct? Okay.
I forget exactly what number it is on this. But
so is it possible for you to have a conversation with Ms. Chen offline during the hearing, then we'll call you when you finish?
Yes, though I'll obviously keep my headphones in just in case either of the matters is called back. Okay, Ms. Chen, what I will do is we will move on to another matter, give you an opportunity to speak with Mr. Cohen now on the phone outside of the hearing. And the two of you may or may not resolve this. And depending on what you come up with, may or may not have to come back in. And hopefully we'll have enough time for you. But if we don't understand that, so the risk that you're taking is that you may not have enough time to be heard today. So we will continue the case momentarily and move on to something else. And then allow Mr. Cohen and Ms. Chen an opportunity to speak. The interpreter, you understand what we're doing?
Yes, very clear. Do you need that interpreted or that's okay?
That's okay, because the two lawyers are going to talk.
Got it.
Okay, all right, thank you. Okay, Ms. Rand, what's next? Let's move on to the next case.
Sure, I see that Inspector Wilborn is here, so I'd like to call back number 12.
No, Mr. Cohen has to have a conversation with Ms. Chen for the moment. Have Mr. Wilborn hold on for a moment.
Oh, okay.
Go to a completely different case.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought Mr. Johnson was representing number 12. Am I wrong?
That's correct. But he's also representing this matter we just finished.
No, I'm not.
Oh, you aren't? Oh, okay.
No, that's Mr. Cohen.
My apologies. My apologies. So let's go to number 12.
Okay. Case number 12, appeal number HA-2021-004609, Vicky Tate, 922 West Somerset Street.
Okay.
And at this time, I'm going to call Inspector Wilborn.
Okay. Mr. Johnson, do you know if the appellant is present?
I had thought I had seen her on the call.
Is the appellant Vicky
Ms.
Tate?
Yes.
Okay, I'm the appellant. Okay.
Okay, Ms. Tate, raise your right hand so that you may be sworn in, please. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give today be the truth to help you God?
Yes.
Okay, now, what is your relationship to this matter? You can place your hand down.
I'm the owner of the building 922 Somerset where the violations were found.
Okay, are you the only person's name on the deed?
Yes.
It's the individual owner, not a corporate owner.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right, Mr. Johnson, please proceed.
The city is going to call Inspector Shondell Wilborn at this time.
Okay.
And has the witness been sworn?
Not yet. Mr. Wilborn, if you would raise your right hand, do you swear or affirm the testimony you give today be the truth to help you God?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Inspector Wilborn, are you familiar with the property at 922 West Somerset Street in the city of Philadelphia?
Yes.
Can you describe that property for the record?
Yes. The property is mixed use. The last approved use, I believe, was for a daycare with apartments on the third floor. It's three floors. The first floor was not in use at the time of my inspection. The third floor, however, was occupied.
What was the last time you inspected the property?
The last time I was at the property was like October. I'm sorry, it was in September 21st.
Okay. And what were the violations that you discovered at that time?
The violations were part of a re-inspection. The violations were actually written, I believe, in March of 2020.
Okay.
And upon the re-inspection, I noticed that the violations were still present for the lack of fire alarm system in the property, as well as a few fire code violations that were also present in terms of like open junction boxes and things of that nature.
Is the violation to do with the use of the property with regard to the zoning?
Correct. Yes. So the property is mixed use property, and the zoning and the certificate of occupancy, as well as the fire alarm, is the main violations. Yes.
So the would you say the current use doesn't match up with what the lawful use would be pursuant to the use permit?
Correct.
And
even though even though the first floor is not occupied at the present, still a mixed use property.
Okay. What about the fire code violations? Do they present a risk of danger to the health and safety of the occupants of the building?
Yes. At the time of inspection, I did notice there were a few open junction boxes with exposed wiring. Those wirings, obviously could spark a fire or anything of that nature. And with the lack of fire alarm system and fire protection in the property, it would pose a big problem.
I'm going to share my screen at this time. Mr. Wilborn, did you take pictures at your last visit at the property?
Yes.
I'm showing what's marked as City Exhibit C4. Can you tell us what this picture shows?
Yes, so that's one of the pictures that I took of the exposed wiring that's present right in the entranceway of the property. The entrance is on the side of the property to go in, and right above the head, once you pass the threshold of the door, is where I located those exposed wires.
Were there other exposed wires throughout the building?
There were a few present. This was the most prevalent.
Okay. I'm going to stop the share at this time, and I'm going to show a couple of more pictures, if I may. Hold on. I'm sharing what's marked as City Exhibit C2 at this time. Mr. Wilborn, I apologize. This is marked as City Exhibit C1. What is this showing?
So this is a space for the tenants. I believe that's on the second floor. The first floor is occupied. Well, isn't occupied, but the second floor, first floor is right now is storage. It's not an overabundance of storage, but it's storage of whatever the previous use was. You go up to the second floor, there's a little kitchen area, and there's a common space for some tenants. And I believe that's one of the spaces there.
And does this indicate a violation of the code?
I mean, so in the walkway in that area there, you got some, it would impede like the path of egress for those things to be in those spaces.
Okay. I'm gonna share what's marked as City Exhibit C2. It's another photo that you had forwarded to me. Can you identify what we're looking at in Exhibit C2?
Sure. So that's the first floor area. That's the space that's currently not used. However, it's used for miscellaneous storage. However, if something were to happen in there, there's nothing but combustible materials in that basement that could potentially, I mean, in the first floor, that could potentially cause a major issue there.
I mean, when you say it's not currently being used, what's preventing the use of that space?
I believe when I spoke to Ms. Tate, I believe it was a lodge that at one point in time, and it's just not in use currently.
Is it a separate unit from the other spaces we looked at? Is it closed off by walls or locked doors?
By door. So when you go into the through the first area where I took the pictures of the exposed wires, right to the right there's a door, and I'm actually right at the door where I take this picture here. And then there's an upstairs that goes upstairs to the common area and then to the top.
And I'm going to show one final exhibit, C3. This is a photo that was also taken at the property. You had sent to me. Mr. Wilborn, can you identify what we're looking at in exhibit C3?
Yes. So that's so right there's the stairwell that's leading to the third floor, which is the apartment units upstairs. So this is a second floor landing, and right there at the right side of the picture there is the stairwell to go up to the steps there. Again, there's some items and things in the way of the path of egress that you would potentially need to if you were to escape or exit the property in case of an emergency.
Okay, Mr. Wilborn, given the violations of the property, what actions would the owner need to take to bring the property into compliance?
Well, first and foremost, the owner needs to have the fire alarm installed in the property. The property is a mixed-use property, and mixed-use properties are required to have a fire alarm, especially when it's currently being occupied by 2 residents on the 3rd floor.
Has the department taken any action regarding intending to cease the property?
Yes, we put in the intent to cease on September 21st. We had put the intent in with the intent to cease it in October, I believe. I believe it was October 26th, or towards the end of October.
Was that stayed pending the outcome of this appeal?
Yes.
And does the condition of the property that it's in right now, does that present a danger to the safety and well-being of the occupants of the property?
Yes. Without the lack of fire protection, those the fire code violations with the egress and the exposed wiring could pose a risk to anyone occupying that space that does not have adequate fire protection.
At this point in time, I'm going to ask that the board admit exhibits C1 through C4 at this time.
Okay, granted.
I have nothing further.
Miss Tate, do you have any questions of the inspector based on his testimony?
I just understand we're talking about the egress.
No. Okay, but just want to make something clear. You will have opportunity to give your general statement after this, but I just want to make sure you have any questions of Mr. Wilborn based on his testimony.
Yeah, I don't know what he means by the egress. That's a violation. I don't know what that word means.
Okay, Mr. Wilborn.
Sure. So in the common spaces, the path of egress would be used. So egress is pretty much like your exit, your escape. So if anything were to happen, God forbid anything were to happen, and the tenants would have to evacuate the property, they would come down the stairs there, and there should be nothing on that landing or in that general space that could potentially cause a tripping hazard or things, or things like that there.
All right, thank you.
No
Okay.
problem.
Mr. Johnson, anything else?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Tate, what is your response to this cease operations notice from the city?
Yes, I told Inspector Wilburn I want to try to correct these. So I did find a company, and I sent the invoice to do the work. But the company said that it would take 2 months because they would need time to get permits from the city. So I sent the invoice where I paid the company a down payment to do the work. And then before this hearing, I called the company, it's called Guardian. I called him, I said, well, do you have any proof that you filed for permits to do the work, to install the fire alarm system? And he called me back and he says, well, no, because the city won't let me file the permit because I need a architectural drawing. So that was news to us. But I did find an architect, and he came out November 24th, and they said it'd take 10 days. So, and I sent that as evidence too, that I gave him a down payment to do the architectural drawings. So now I'm just waiting the 10 days from November 24th. When I get the architectural drawings, then I'll go back to Guardian, the people supposed to install the fire alarm system, so they can apply for the permits to do the work.
Okay. Ms. Tate, how long have you owned this building?
I think 2007.
Okay. And has it always been a mixed-use building since you've owned it?
Well, no, it was a lodge, and I was a member of the lodge. And then I asked him to do programs in the community, and okay. And I was doing stuff for the kids. And then they all died. So I said, I'll take over the building.
Okay, Ms. Tate, you aren't answering my question. My question to you is that, has it always been used as a mixed-use property since you've owned it? Meaning there's residential upstairs and there's a commercial or institutional use on the first floor? That's yes or no?
No.
Okay, so when you bought it, how was it being occupied? How were the spaces being used?
I was just having programs downstairs for the youth in the community.
And you didn't have any people living on the upper floors?
Afterwards, I decided I was only, it was a fourth, all those floors, that if I had tenants upstairs, it would help pay for the program. So that's when I decided to have tenants.
When did you do that? When did you move people into the building? What year? I mean, that's be helpful.
I'm just trying my memory. I think it's been like 5 or 6 years.
Okay. Now, when you received the notice on September 21st about the inspection violations, when did you contact the fire alarm company?
Well, this is all new to me, so I'm just calling over there trying to find who does what.
No, but that isn't the answer. I'm asking you, when you got the notice on September 21st, when did you contact the fire alarm company to try to resolve it?
I called many fire alarm companies, many companies to see.
When did you start doing that?
Immediately, but because I didn't know who did what, immediately I was calling. I called because I have like an alarm company. I said, do you do fire alarms?
Okay.
But then I found out it wasn't the best, it wasn't really what I needed.
Okay. Do you own other investment property in Philadelphia?
No.
This is the only invested property that you own?
Yes.
What about outside of Philadelphia?
No. I
Okay.
just own the home I live in.
Okay. Mr. Johnson, you indicated that there was a issue with zoning. What does that matter? What's the issue with zoning?
No, I was questioning as to whether there was any violations regarding the use of the property. I think the cease is primarily due to the fire alarm, and this is not a zoning issue. It's simply the fire alarm.
Okay, simply the fire. Do we have any information as to when has a permit been applied for yet?
Mr. Wilborn? I was going to ask to verify with Mr. Wilborn, but I don't believe any permit has been applied for.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Anyone else have any questions?
Yeah, I do. Ms. Tate, you said you've been doing community activities out of the first floor. For how long have you been doing those activities out of the first floor of the property?
Well, during the pandemic, I haven't done anything.
But before the pandemic, were you using it for these community activities?
Yes, yes. I had like a youth entrepreneur program. I taught kids how to make stuff and they would sell them on the weekends. And kids sometimes acted they could have a party. We did a haunted house, just cultural and artist events.
So do you understand the city's concern that you have people living on the upper floors and you had people wandering or doing things on the first floor? And because of the multiple uses in the property was not in compliance with the city's fire code requirements? Do you understand that?
Yeah, I understand it, and I'm working on it. Corrected. I absolutely believe that. Now that I'm aware. I mean, I had smoke alarms, but then I'm just learning that's different than a fire alarm. So, like I said, I already put money down on the system. I mean, I sent the receipt that I already paid people to install it.
Well, all right, so if you've done that and these people now have to submit a drawing and a plan, and maybe the city through the inspector, can I give an idea? The plan has to be submitted, reviewed and approved, and then they can start the work. Do you have any idea how long this might take?
Well, the architect was out on November 24th, and he said it would take 10 days, everything, his drawings would be done.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
I guess the other question would be, Ms. Tate, you said you have smoke alarms throughout the property?
Smoke alarms, I'm sure they're upstairs where the people live.
Did you have them installed?
Yes, I had them installed because I did a lot of work to prepare the property.
I do have a further question. The wiring and the exposed wiring that the inspector discovered on the first floor, that has nothing, I don't think that has anything to do with the fire alarm system. That's just dangerous exposed wires. Am I correct, Inspector?
That's correct.
So that still would have to be dealt with separate and apart from getting the fire alarm system installed. Is that correct, Inspector?
That's also correct, yes.
Now, and let me just confirm with Mr. Johnson. Is the property zoned for multifamily? What's the current zoning for the property? Does this use on the first floor, whatever it is that permitted, or does it only have a residential zoning classification? Or
I think it's zoned for mixed use, so that would be permitted on the first floor, but it only would be permitted as long as they're in compliance with the fire code.
And they need
So,
a use permit as well.
Right.
Does she need a certificate of occupancy?
Shondell, did she
Yes.
have a CO?
No. So it would there with the zone, you would have to also obtain the certificate of occupancy as well.
So that should have occurred at the time of transfer of ownership.
Correct.
Okay.
But and just a further clarification of that, if she applies for a building permit now to install the fire alarm system, could that include an application for a CO?
I believe it could. Yes, she could apply for all those things.
The person you're referring to is Ms. Tate, correct?
Yes.
Thank you.
Ms. Tate, have you hired an electrician to review your electrical problems with the exposed wiring?
The fire alarm company said I have to hire an electrician to do the wiring to their fire alarm system. So I'm going to use the one that they're going to use and get them knock everything out.
You may want to get a separate electrician to immediately correct the exposed wiring.
Okay.
I mean, I'm just suggesting we can't determine how you handle your business. All we're going to do is respond to the city's request. But I would suggest to you that you be more prompt in responding to these matters. That could have been resolved months ago.
Okay.
You own a mixed-use property that has significantly different code requirements than your single-family residence where you live. And so if you aren't familiar, you really need to become familiar with what's required as an investment property owner. Anything else from anyone?
Just to reiterate, the city's position here is that since the building is not in compliance with the fire code and doesn't have a certificate of occupancy, and it clearly stated that the condition of the building as it is presents a hazard to the life and safety of those occupying the building, the city would like to follow through on the cease.
Okay, Ms. Tate, how many people are living in the property?
One person, and it would cause a great hardship for him. He's a veteran, and
Okay, but you're absolutely right. It would. That's why we're pressing you as to why you hadn't done something before now, as the owner of the property.
well,
Okay. Okay. Mr. Wilburn, can you confirm that there are smoke detectors in the property?
I did notice there was one smoke detector in the common area.
You did?
Right. As far as like, and for units and things like that, no. It would, with the fire alarm system, everything would be hardwired. Everything would have the and things like that to have adequate fire protection.
Okay. I'm asking in terms of, did you inspect the interior of the units, residential units?
Not the full interiors, no.
So you can't confirm if there were smoke detectors?
Right, yeah, so on the third floor, there was 2 rooms that were occupied at the time. She's saying that there's 1 now, but in the inside, I did not observe any in the inside of those units.
Okay, Ms. Tate, do you have smoke detectors inside the living units?
yes,
Where the people live?
yes, because one went off like a week ago.
Okay, now this person lives on the 2nd or 3rd floor. There's 1 person.
He's on the 3rd floor.
Okay. Alrighty.
I have another question because I'm a little confused. Is this property being used on the 2nd and 3rd floor as apartments, or are these rooming units that you're referring to on the 3rd floor? And if they're rooming units, does it have zoning for that? I guess I'm confused because it seems to be that what's being described are rooming units. And are there kitchens in each of these apartments or each of these units, Inspector or Ms. Tate?
I talked to my architect. I actually only have 1 tenant now, and he says it's zoned for 1 apartment. So just use it as it's just 1 apartment. 1 tenant has moved out, so I only have 1 tenant.
Ms. Tate, you didn't answer the question. Do you have separate kitchens for each apartment upstairs?
No, there's just 1 little small kitchenette.
Okay, so this is a rooming unit situation.
No, it's an apartment.
So that person lives on the 3rd floor. He uses the kitchen on the 2nd floor.
Yes.
And when all the units were occupied, which kitchen did he use?
Everybody, well, he cooks in his room. So he just comes in the kitchen anyway, just to wash his dishes.
Okay.
So it's just 1 kitchenette. It's 1
Okay.
kitchenette.
So that's a rooming house. That's a rooming house. That's an illegal use. Okay.
No, it's only 1 person there.
No.
2 people living there at one point with only 1 kitchen for the 2 people living in the units. Is that correct, Ms. Tate?
Yes.
There were 2 people living in the building, but there was only 1 kitchen on the 2nd floor. Is that correct?
Yes.
Thank you.
So that was a rooming situation at the time.
But can't people share an apartment?
No, they can't do that. That's illegal unless you have a zoning for a rooming operation. This is not a rooming operation. You don't have that kind of designation. You can do that, but you have to have it under certain circumstances, and you haven't done that. Okay, if there's nothing else, with regard to appeal number HA 2021-004-609, Vicky Tate, we will call the vote. City affirmed.
City affirmed. Mr. Pettit, are you affirmed?
City affirmed. Ms. Tate, you've lost your appeal. You can appeal this decision if you choose. Check in with the office with Ms. Rand, and they can inform you as to how to do that. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you. Can Inspector Wilborn be excused?
Yes, sir.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.
Okay. Ms. Rand, what do we have next?
Well, I have my parties back for case number.
I am the interpreter for
If Mr. Cohen, are you ready to progress?
Actually, could I call the board's attention to number 9, Mohammed Rashid, for a moment? I believe there's a continuance request we can dispose of quickly.
Okay. Please.
And if Mr. Levy is here. Well, he's here, but he's on mute, so I'll give him a moment.
Mr. Levy, if you would unmute yourself.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, now, Mr. Cohen, please proceed.
I actually spoke to Mr. Levy over email a moment ago, and I just sent him the city's exhibits packet a moment ago. And I believe he would like some time to review this packet. The city has no problem with that. If we could have a short continuance.
Okay.
Mr. Cohen, are you actually available on December 14th? Is that even an option? I've heard Mr. Panza ask about it.
If the board has space, I'm sure I or another city attorney can handle.
For the moment, then we will mark this as continued, correct?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
You. Take care, Mr. Levy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we can excuse the interpreter, Mr. Kapasi. Thank you.
Yes.
Yes, I am here.
Okay, now, the other matter that we were, I believe, who was handling that?
Right.
If it's
I would just like to,
6.
sure, I'm sorry. I'd just like to add that Mr. Kapasi is now excused. You no longer have to be in the hearing room because that matter was continued. And we thank you for showing up today.
Okay, I'm not sure if he heard you, but let's proceed anyway. Mr. Cohen, you had it. You were having a conversation offline with Ms. Chen?
Yes, for number 6, Kun Yong Zhang.
Do we need to, can we proceed today, or what should we be doing?
The city is prepared.
Okay. All right, Ms. Chen, are you prepared to proceed?
Yes.
Okay. Ms. Brand, would you read in number 6, please?
Certainly. Case number 6, appeal number HA-2021-002601, Kun Young Zhang, 3807 Pulaski Avenue, represented by Eleanor Chen.
Okay. Thank you
Mr.
very much.
Watson? Mr. Watson?
Who's speaking?
This is the interpreter. Still waiting to get the appellant's phone number.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You ready? 267.
你可以说中文比较好。267，
499
499
0048
0048 267 499 0048，好，谢谢。
Now, that exchange between the interpreter and Ms. Chen was to transmit the phone numbers of so that they may communicate during the hearing. Thank you very much. Mr. Cohen, would you proceed, please? Everyone who was previously sworn should remain sworn. Please proceed.
Of course, I'll just wait until the interpreter is given a signal that we're prepared.
Yeah, I am the interpreter. My name is
excellent.
Kapasi.
Mr. Kapasi, your case has been continued, so you may disengage with us.
So has it been the reset?
No, they don't need you anymore today, so we're done.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Cohen, please proceed.
Thank you. Just for the record, I did see the interpreter signal with her hand. I think we're prepared to proceed.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
May I share my screen? I have the exhibits packet that I sent to the board and the appellant last week.
I have a question. So this the defendant did not come up?
Yes, you have permission to leave, sir.
Okay.
I just want to check, can everyone see my screen?
If you could increase the zoom in a bit, the font
that
size, much better.
Then the city would call sanitarian Jody Wilkins. Sorry, sanitarian supervisor, I think, Jody Wilkins.
Okay.
I'm here.
Okay, Ms. Wilkins, would you raise your right hand so that you may be sworn? Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you give today be the truth so help you God?
Yes, I do.
All right, thank you. Okay, Mr. Cohen.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Sanitarian Wilkins.
Good morning. Good afternoon.
If you could just give us very basically how long you've been working for the health department and in what capacity?
I've been a sanitary supervisor. I am for the health department, been with the health department in the city of Philadelphia for over 10 years. And my general position, I oversee the approval and denial of tobacco retailer permits for the sale of tobacco and e-cigarettes in the city, as well as for those who sell tobacco to minors.
And as part of your duties that you specifically mentioned, did you happen to deal with the denial of a renewal for 3807 Pulaski Avenue?
Yes, I have.
And I'm going to scroll to page 2 in the packet that's been marked Exhibit C1. What is the document that I'm showing on my screen right now?
This is the 2020 tobacco retailer permit denial decision for their permit for that year due to 4 tickets of sale to minors within a 2-year period.
Do you know the dates of these tickets to sale to minors?
The date is a 6/18, 2019, 8/22, 18, 2/19, 2019, and 4/2, 2019.
And is the information that goes into this document on my screen kept in the ordinary course of the health department's business?
Yes.
And is it entered by someone with knowledge of the events that go into this document?
It is entered, yes.
Then I would move that this be entered as an exhibit C1 for the city.
Okay, approved. Thank you.
Now, the specific sales to minors that are listed here, when they occur, what actually happens?
What happens is we have an undercover team through our contract with the Health Promotion Council. They hire teens and adults to go out together to go in and attempt to buy tobacco at the businesses in the city of Philadelphia to see if they will sell tobacco to the minor. So if the adult and minor go in and they are given the tobacco without any ID, then we will ticket them for the sale of tobacco to minor and without ID. If they do ask for ID but still sell it, then we also give the ticket as well. So I'm notified of the violation via email, and that shows the details of the actual violation. And then I prepared for sanitarians to go out and issue the tickets, or it may be myself at times as well.
And actually, I'm going to move to page 3 in the packet. What is this document that I'm showing that's been pre-marked as Exhibit C2?
This is a tobacco sale to minor that was for violation 82218. Was issued by one of my employees for the sale of tobacco to minor.
And is this the ticket you were talking about earlier?
Yes.
Now, if a ticket is challenged, would that come to your attention?
The way that is challenged, can be challenged, is on the back of the ticket. There's a spot where they can check mark and send it to the co-violation unit for the Office Administrative Review to send them hearing information so they can contest the ticket. It does not come to me directly, no.
Well, would you be called in for those hearings?
I've sat on some of the hearings, but I'm not there to testify. I'm just there as a representative for the health department. If the people would need some clarification or any issues that may come up in relation to the USL process or permit process.
Now, were you called in for any hearings for 3807 Pulaski Avenue challenging any of these tickets?
I do not recall that, not particularly. I do go through quite a few around that time. So I don't know any particular, I don't have a particular eye on this one, no.
Now I'm going to just scroll down to show pages 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Now, just looking at these exhibits, are all of these a similar type of record?
Yes, they were sell tobacco to minors, and they were issued either in person, and a couple of them that I've written. One I went there myself to issue, and one because we made an attempt to go out, and when not able to due to being closed or not being available, then we'll mail them. So I had mailed out the ticket as well.
And are these records that are kept in the ordinary course of the health department's business?
Yes.
And is the information that goes into these records entered by someone with knowledge?
Yes.
Then I would move that exhibits C2 C3, C4, and C5, which are the pages that I just showed, be entered as exhibits.
So move.
And you were mentioning, Sanitarian, one or more tickets that you yourself wrote. Do you remember the dates of those tickets?
If you would move the exhibit, I could show you which one has my name. So that one right there, as my initials at the bottom. That was for 4219. I wrote that one. And so there's a couple of them that I would either write if I was there. The 4219 was one I mailed because they were not available at the time. We usually go about a couple times and see if they're available.
I'm also looking at the one on page 5. Is that also your initial and signature at the bottom?
Yes, that I did deliver to the store myself.
And I think, sorry, thank you. I think those were the tickets that I wanted to highlight. Just to make sure, when these are issued and mailed, not issued and given to someone at the store, what address are they sent to?
Generally, it's sent to the store address. Sometimes they will have an alternative address, but normally I send it to the store.
Well, in the case of, sorry, I think it's the 419 one, this one that you said that you weren't able to give it personally, is that correct?
Yes.
So then was this mailed to the store address?
Yes.
And to the best of your knowledge, was this ever challenged? Were you ever called out for this particular hearing?
No, I don't believe so.
And just to review, when you reviewed the records for this particular location, did you review, for instance, the licenses for this location?
Yes.
And you'll forgive me, I'm going to page 10, which is marked as Exhibit C7. What is this document that I have on screen?
As a food prep and serve license.
And
go ahead, I'm sorry.
And who's the license holder?
That's, I guess, Kun Yang Zing.
And what's the mailing address associated with this license?
At 3807 Pulaski Avenue.
Thank you very much, Sanitarian. If the appellant has any questions for the Sanitarian, I would just reserve a little bit for rebuttal.
Sure. Ms. Chen, do you have any cross-examination?
I do.
Please proceed.
Yeah. I hear you said 1 or 2 ticket you were personally drop it off. Did I hear you say that?
What was the question again? I'm sorry.
You said you personally drop off the ticket to the location yourself.
Yes, one of the location on the 219 one, that was the one I visited the store directly, yes.
Okay, if the ticket was issued on 2/19/19, when do you remember you drop it off? Around what time? What date?
The date that's on the bottom of the ticket would have been 2/22. So I dropped it
can
off on
scroll up if you need to see the exhibit.
Okay, and when you drop off the ticket, how were you able to communicate with Mr. Zheng, my client?
I don't recall that particular because it's been several years now, the exact exchange, but I normally introduce myself. I ask for their licenses. I put that information down, and then I will let them know what I'm there for. And I explain that the violation was sell tobacco to a minor based on this date and time. And then
Do you speak Chinese? I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Do you speak Chinese?
No.
Okay.
Any other questions, Ms. Chen?
Okay, I don't have a question for this lady.
Okay, all right, thank you. All right, Ms. Cohen, do you have anyone else?
Nothing on redirect, thank you. And I guess the city rests at this time.
Okay, I do have a question
sharing my
before.
screen.
Okay, before Ms. Watkins leaves the stand, I do have a question for Ms. Watkins. Do you know if any of those tickets were challenged by the appellant and if any of them were paid?
I do not know I do not know that information.
Okay, so the record that you have access to doesn't tell you if any of the tickets were paid.
No, I do not. That's through the Office of Administrative Review, and I don't have access to that information at the current.
Okay, thank you. All right.
I have two questions. Number one, I gather that the tickets, as Mr. Cohen mentioned, have the appeal rights printed on the back of each of the tickets, and that
Correct.
in the future would be helpful if that, at least in one instance, was submitted. And then I believe you indicated a copy of the deed for the property was attached as one of the exhibits. However, the deed that seems to be attached does not have the name of the appellant in it. Am I correct? That doesn't mean that Mr. Zhang doesn't own the property, but that's not the name, or am I mistaken?
I don't know anything about that part.
If I could add as part of argument.
Yes.
Okay.
The operator of the restaurant that sells the tobacco or used to sell tobacco is the appellant Kunyong Zhang. The deed was included just to clarify that it's owned by a different party, but that party doesn't operate the restaurant, at least isn't on the food licenses that Ms. Wilkins pointed out.
I'm here. All right.
Okay, thank you very much. Ms. Chen, you can present your case, please.
Mr. Zhang, did you see a few tickets I'm holding right now?
Okay, if you're going to call him as a witness, I need you to introduce him, then I have to swear him in.
Okay.
Sorry, Mr. Woodson and
Yes.
Ms. Chen. In this case, at this point, Mr. Zhang can testify over Zoom, and the interpreter is going to end the phone call.
Oh, no. We need you to interpret everything he says.
The interpretation will happen over the phone, over the Zoom platform. So,
okay.
So he can just drop the end the phone call.
Okay.
And just speak to the microphone into the Zoom platform.
Okay. Thank you.
郑先生，您现在作证就直接跟电脑的话筒说就好了。您说什么我就帮你翻译哈。Okay. So someone want to swear him?
Yes, Mr. Chen, I need you to raise your right hand so that you may be sworn.
郑先生，请你举起右手。
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give today be the truth so help you God?
您是否庄重的宣誓您今天所做的证词是事实？您宣誓吗 ？Yes.
Okay, thank you. You can place your hand down.
谢谢，你可以把手放下了。
Ms. Chen, please proceed.
陈女士，你可以说吧。
Yeah, Mr. Zhang, I have 4 tickets appear to be a tickets in front of me. Have you seen these tickets before?
郑先生，我手头上拿着4张的罚单，这4张的罚单你以前见过吗？Sorry, the interpreter couldn't hear Mr. Zhang. 郑先生，翻译听不到您说，您之前见过这些罚单吗？
见过呀。
Yes.
Do you know what that for?
您知道这些罚单是干什么的吗？
是那个卖烟卖醋卖。
It's about the wrong tobacco sales.
Okay. Do you always check people's ID when they purchase cigarette at your store?
当人们到你的店里面买烟的时候，您是不是总是要看一下他们的身份证呢？他们的 ID 呢？是不是总是要这样做的呢？
我每个人都有问，都有看。
I ask everyone and I look at everyone's.
Okay. So if you receive this ticket, what you do when after you receive this ticket from the government?
政府给你开了这些罚单之后，您收到之后怎么办呢？当时你做什么了？
我那个最后那个有去上庭嘛。
So for the last ticket, I did show up in court.
So are you saying you were contested for the 2019 ticket?
是不是您说2019年那张罚单，您有就是说反对过、挑战过这个罚单，不认同对吗？
不认同呀，我就是有看 ID， 但是我没有看那个忘记看年数了嘛，我以为都有。
Right, I contested that ticket. I did look at the ID, but I forgot to look at the age.
All right. Is anybody when the government send you drop off the ticket, do you understand? Can you communicate with them and know what's the nature of the ticket?
当政府的人员到你店里面亲自把这个罚单交给你的时候，你能够跟他们沟通，知道这个罚单是怎么回事吗？当时你能够这样做吗？
我不知道。
No, I did not know.
All right. Okay. And normally when you receive a ticket, how long in between when the government alerts what happened until you receive a ticket? What's the timeline in between?
Sorry, Counsel, could you repeat the question one more time?
Do you have a video in your store?
您的店里面有一个摄像头吗？
有。
Yes.
How long you can keep the record of that video?
您店里面的摄像头的录像呢？你能够保存多长时间的呢
？1个星期。
A week.
Okay. Do you normally receive a ticket within 1 week to inform you they allege that you did something wrong? Is that within 1 week period?
如果您收罚单的时候呢，这个罚单上面说您这个做错的那一天，跟您收到那个罚单的那一天，中间是不是大概是1个星期呢？就是不是这个1个星期的时间？
这我也不知道多久，很久。
I'm not sure. It's quite a long time ago.
All right. So when you contested the last time, you said in 2019, were you able to bring your video or anything? So tell us what happened during that contest.
我记得您说2019年那一张罚单，您不是上庭去反对过吗？当时您是不是带了视频去了？告诉我们当时是怎么回事，怎么做的？你是不是把录像带去了？
我没有带录像带，我就是说那个罚单带过去，我说我有看那个 ID 的，没有看几岁嘛。
I did not bring the video recording. It was about the last citation. I did look at the ID, but I forgot to look at the age.
Yeah, 我们大陆就是说18岁才有 ID， 才有 ID， 我以为这样。
So in mainland China, people are issued an ID only after they turn 18. So I thought that's the same case here.
Okay. Why did you contest the first like 2 or 3 times?
Counsel, could you repeat the question one more time?
I said, why didn't you contest the first 2 or 3 times of the other ticket?
那么别的罚单，那个第2次、第3次、第2、第3张那些罚单哈，为什么当时你没有去反对说，就是说不同意这个罚单呢？当时为什么没那么做呢？
因为我有一次那个我有问他，我每次都有问他，就是没有 ID 吧？他也没有18岁，他说有18岁的，我那个就卖给他了，我相信他嘛。
So I did ask every time whether a person has ID or not, whether that person was 18, and if that person answered yes, then I believe that person.
Without the liquor cigarette license, there's any impact to your small business right now?
没有了这个卖烟酒的执照，有没有对您的这个生意带来影响呢？
影响很大。
Big impact.
explain a little bit, like
Objection to relevance.
反对。
So move, overruled. Please proceed.
没有关系，请继续说，请你解释的清楚一点，怎么对你的生意影响很大？
我如果没有卖香烟或者没有卖汽水，我完全不可能，没办法工作下去。
Without the license to sell liquor and tobacco, I don't think the business can continue.
我没办法配那个房东的那个房租了。
I won't be able to pay the rent.
And this store is your only way to make a living for your family?
这个店是你唯一的谋生的，给家人还有自己唯一的谋生工具，对不对？
是啊，影响到我的生活，还有我的孩子读书都没办法了。
It impacts my life and affected my kids, schooling.
How long you've owned this?
Objection to. There is absolutely no basis for that statement.
Yeah.
您这个说没有根据。
Your objection has sustained. Ms. Chen, would you move on, please?
陈女士，请继续说下去。
I don't have a further question for my client right now. I think nothing further at this point.
没别的问题进一步要问了。
Okay. Mr. Cohen, do you have any cross-examination?
柯文先生有什么要盘问
Yes, and I
的？
would
这
like
位
to
先
share
生。
my screen again.
有的，我现在先把屏幕打开给大家看。
All right, so I'm going to go back to page 3 in the packet. Mr. Zhang, can you see what I've shown on the screen?
郑先生，这是第3页里面的内容，您看得见屏幕上显示的文件吗？
I cannot see the date. Can you move so I can? Okay.
陈律师说看不到日期，请他把它拉下一点。现在看到了。
What I would like to point out, and I would like to ask Mr. Zhang about, is does he see the date at the top here, 8/22/18?
郑先生，我想问你的就是这个文件最上面的日期，您看得到吗？2018年8月22，您看得到吗？
看不见，眼睛都坏了。
Okay. Sorry. 陈先生，郑先生，您看得到还是看不到啊？
He said he cannot see.
Oh, I can't see.
Okay, can we magnify that a bit more, Mr. Cohen?
请柯
That's
文
what I'm
先生，
attempting to do at the moment.
请柯文先生把文件放大一些。
He's wearing his glass now as we speak.
Oh, okay.
看得到，哎呀，8月22号。
Can he see the date at the top
August
now?
22.
And can he see down at the bottom this date, September 5th?
您看到下面的日期吗？9月5号，这个罚单下面的日期9月5号。
Yeah.
Yes.
看得到。
I'm going down to page 5. Can he see the date at the top here, 2/19/2019?
您看到这个罚单上面的日期吗？19年2月19。
看得到。
Yes, I can see that.
And then the date at the bottom of 2/22/2019.
这个罚单下面是2月22号19年的日期，看得到吗？
And
Yes.
similarly, and I will, this will be my last question on this line. Can you see the 4/2/2019 date at the top of this notice?
那么也跟之前的问题差不多啊，也是我最后一个问题。4月2号19年，这个看得到吗？看得到是吗？ Yes.
And down here it says this date is 4/10/2019. Can you see that?
下面的日期写着19年4月10号，您看得到吗？
看得到。
Yes.
So then it's fair to say, is it not, that these notices were issued within a few days of the incidents that are described therein?
那么我如果说这些罚单都是事件发生之后的几天之内发给你的罚单，我这样说公平吧？
我也不知道什么公平不公平，我不懂法律也不懂什么。
I don't know whether it's fair enough since I don't know the law.
Well, without speaking about legalese, were these issued within a few days of the incidents that are described in the tickets?
那么就不用法律的术语了。我想问的是，这些罚单是不是就是在事件发生之后的几天之内写给你的罚单？是就在几天之内发出去的，不是吗？
这我也不知道。
I don't know.
没有去看这个东西。
I did not look at it.
不懂看里面写什么。
I don't know what's written in there.
Well, when you received these tickets, did you take them to someone very quickly to have them translated?
当您当时收到这些罚单的时候，你不是马上把罚单带去给懂英文的人，给你马上的翻译一下，说这个罚单是什么内容？你没有这样做吗？
我一般都没有，我懂英文，现在我配了很多钱了，我不知道讲的，如果懂英文的看，我都要配钱啊，我没有配那么多钱啊。
So to take it to someone who understands English, I had to pay a lot of money.
So you didn't take them, for example, to the health department or to L&I or to any city agents.
也就是说，当时你收到罚单，没有把这个罚单拿去卫生局，没有去拿去这个执照的批准的部门，没有带去给任何的市政府的机构吗？
没有，
No, I did not.
But are you aware that the city agencies that I just mentioned do offer translation services?
您是知道我刚才说的几个政府的部门都有提供翻译服务的，您是知道的。
不知道这个东西。
Sorry, may the interpreter ask for a repetition? 郑先生，您是知道还是不知道关于他们会提供服务啊？
不知道。
No, I did not know that.
我如果有拿人家看都有钱，我倒不如配了200块更便宜，就是这样想法。
So my thought was that if I had to ask someone to help and show someone for the translation, I would have to pay more. So I would rather pay the $250.
So these tickets were paid.
所以这些罚单您都支付了，对吗？
是啊。
Huh?
我都配啊。
Yes, I paid them.
What about the ticket that you challenged? When you took that ticket, did you take it to someone to get it translated?
刚才不是有一张罚单，您是说不服吗？您有没有拿去给人家看？有没有给人翻译呢？
我最后那个，当然我不相信，我真的不相信，我那个看 ID 没有看年龄嘛，我就是不配吧。
Sorry, yeah, may the interpreter ask for clarification?
Yes,
您刚才怎么说来着？您说最后罚单怎么回事？您说真不相信什么的？
我也有看 ID， 但是我没有看多少年龄，就是这样。
So for the last ticket, I did look at for that incident, I did look at the ID, but I didn't look at the age.
Mr. Chen, that is not. I'm sorry, not Mr. Chen. Mr. Nguyen. Mr. Zhang. My apologies, Mr. Zhang. That wasn't responsive. That didn't answer the question that was asked of you. Interpreter, would you re-ask the question, please?
Could the council give the question one more time?
I'll repeat the question, not a problem. When he challenged one of these tickets, did he take that ticket to get translated?
好，郑先生，关于最后那一张您不服的罚单，您那个罚单你有没有拿去给人看，帮助您翻译呢？有这样做吗？当时
没有，我就勾一下，就退回去，他叫我上庭嘛。
No, I did not. I just checked the box and returned the ticket, and so I received notice to go to court.
And when he was in court, did he have translation services for his challenge?
当您出庭的时候，法庭上有翻译服务帮助你解释翻译一切吗？
什么？
当您出庭的时候，您去法庭的时候，当时有翻译服务给你帮助你解释您为什么反对这张罚单吗？当时法庭上有翻译服务吗？
没有。
No.
So he's claiming that he challenged a ticket in court without any translation services whatsoever.
您是不是现在说，当时您上法庭去反对这张罚单，而能够在不使用翻译，在没有翻译的情况下， 在法庭上反对这个罚单吗？
是啊，就是我儿子不读讲中文啊。
Through my son, but my son does not speak English, Chinese.
All right, well, I, at this time, have no further questions for Mr. Zhang. Thank you.
好，我没有别的问题要问郑先生了，谢谢。
Thank you. Mr. Cohen, do you have any other witnesses?
No, just closing argument.
Cohen 先生没有别的证人了。
Ms. Chen, do you have?
Sorry, go ahead.
Ms. Chen, do you have any other witnesses?
No, I do not.
Do you have any closing statements?
I do. After Mr. Cohen, I will say a few words.
Okay, Mr.
May the
Cohen.
interpreter, sorry, Mr.
Yes.
Wilson, may the interpreter dial the number for Mr. Zhang to pick up the simultaneous? Just have a minute, a few seconds.
Okay.
I was actually going to ask. Thank you. Okay. Are we ready to proceed?
Yes. Yes.
Thank you. So on the one hand, we have these tickets that are frankly more than enough in this case for the denial of a tobacco permit. The regulations state that it is, I believe, 2 or 3 separate events or sales to minors in the past 24-month period. Here we actually have many more than that. Even if we discount the challenge ticket, which we shouldn't, because as the appellant has admitted, he did not check the age on that ID. Even if we discount that particular CDN, there are more than enough tickets to justify, under the regulations, the denial of the renewal of this permit. I would also like to point out that there are several inconsistencies with the appellant's testimony here. On the one hand, he says he couldn't understand these tickets. On the other hand, he says he challenged one of them. And on the one hand, he said he didn't know that there were translation services available. On the other hand, he went to court. He says that he brought his son, but he also says his son doesn't speak the same language as him. And altogether, those don't make sense. It's a narrative that does not get you from, I have challenged one of these tickets, to I have successfully interpreted the ticket and filed a court appeal and appeared and was able to explain to the court that I looked at the ID but did not check the age. So I think what's going on here is pretty apparent to the board, that there were sales to minors, that they were not excused, that even if they weren't the appellant himself, they're some of his employees that are performing these sales. And I think there's enough of the sales and enough of the uncontested tickets to show that this pattern should not be allowed, that this pattern should not be allowed with a person who has an active tobacco retailer permit, hence the denial of its renewal. And that's why I believe there is sufficient evidence for the board to find that this denial is affirmed in the city's favor.
Thank you. Ms. Chen?
Yes. I think my client didn't get a chance to testify in that regard, but I do know here he has operated this store for many years. And that's what his family rely on to make a living. Even with the government witness testify, they drop off the ticket without an interpreter or online or by herself speak any Chinese. I mean, technically just drop off the fine ticket and leave because my client, you can tell, doesn't speak English pretty much at all. They did, and he testified, he checked ID all the time. Language is a barrel, which we know already. Life hasn't been easy, and he said if he has to hire attorney, I mean the tickets obviously didn't say. By fairness, if there's a one line of sentence says in Chinese says if you disagree, we provided you language or interpreter. Nothing in that regard, but there's a circle, the 250 and for fine. So in those immigrant probably just by paying that to make their life relatively easier than bring this ticket to the government for free service, which nowhere tell them there's such a benefit. And also in today's hearing, we do not see any video on government says, you know, see, this is the video on this particular day. They didn't check ID, or they even checked ID, but sold it to the minor anyhow. And my client also testified they did contested for the last ticket, whatever that means, in court. Obviously, also without the translator. They did bring their case to go to the court, which I see that very often. They have no choice but bring their own case. But in any event, I mean, just to be fairness, we see the ticket. They did pay that. They understand some, but not much. It hasn't been easy to make a living. Also have to follow all those rules, which is by itself already make it hard for people knows nothing about the language and law. It just make their not fair and not easy to follow. And we will continue to penalize them, not to renew their license. That make the is more unfair than it has already created. Nothing further.
All right, thank you. There's nothing further. We will then poll the board. With regard to HA 2021-002-601, Kun Young Zin, 3807 Pulaski Avenue, city affirmed.
City affirmed.
Can we
Mr.
get a third vote?
City affirmed.
Thank you very much. There's been unanimous vote of city affirm. Ms. Chen, that means, of course, that your appeal failed, and you may appeal the decision of this board if you choose. As an attorney, I'm sure you know how to do that. Thank you very much. Thank you all for participating.
Thank you.
Thank you, members of the board.
Okay, what do we have next?
May the interpreter be excused?
Yes, sir. I mean, yes, ma'am. Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Yes. While that hearing was going on for that case, I had a continuance request from Ms. Nanette Greer, which is case number 2, which was next on the list, for HA-2021-00052. And
okay,
the city is representing the city for that.
Who's representing that?
I am Dejanae Davis on behalf of the city.
Okay. Ms. Davis, did you have any communication with the appellant?
Yes, so we requested a continuance to try to handle this matter outside the presence of the board.
Okay, thank you. We'll continue that case then.
Thank you. And may my inspector, Miss Inspector Crawford, be excused?
Yes.
And also briefly, I had another continuance for last 40061. If Inspector Conway doesn't have any other matters today, may he also be excused?
Okay, which 0061?
Yes.
That's just want to make sure.
Oh, that's the one we continued, case number 3 for Mr. John Ross.
Oh, okay. Yes.
And that concludes my business for the day.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, board. Have a good day.
Thank you. Okay, what do we have next?
All right, case number 7, appeal number HA-2021-02602, 2901 Anthony Inc., 2901 North 27th Street, represented by John J. McCreesh IV.
Okay, thank you. And the Anthony Inc. Who's representing the city in this matter?
I am Michelle Reinhardt on behalf of the city. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Okay, let's, Mr. McCreesh, do you have who's representing your client, or whether you have anyone speaking on behalf of your client today?
Yes, Pauline Lim, who's the officer of the corporation, is here with me in my office.
Okay, all right, thank you. All right, city, let's proceed.
Thank you. I would like to call Ms. Jody Wilkins as the first witness.
Okay.
I'm here.
Okay, Ms. Wilkins, would you raise your right hand so that you may be sworn? Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give today be the truth so help you God?
Yes, I do.
All right, thank you. Please proceed.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Ms. Wilkins. Can you please tell the court, the board, your position with the city?
I'm a sanitarian supervisor with the City of Philadelphia Health Department, tobacco enforcement, and my general duties is to deny and approve tobacco retailer permits and also issue sales of tickets to minors.
Okay. I am going, may I share?
Yes,
on my
yeah,
screen?
please.
Thank you. I am sharing at this time a document that I would like to mark City 1.
Okay.
Ms. Wilkins, do you recognize this letter?
Yes, that's a denial letter for 2020 for 2901 Anthony Inc.
Okay, and what did you review in order to complete this letter?
The tobacco sales to minors, there were 3 in 2 years. And the dates that's on the letter is 5/23/19, 6/28/19, and 8/26/19.
Okay, can you please describe the process in which sales to minors are investigated as documented in these types of instances?
Yeah, so there is a contract agency called the Health Promotion Council who goes undercover with an adult and minor together to attempt to buy tobacco in the stores. And so if they get a sale, then I am notified via email that they have sold tobacco to a minor. If they ask for ID, then they would just get the 1 ticket. If they did not ask for ID, they would get the 2. And so each case, I'm notified of the sale. I prepare it to for my staff to go out and issue the tickets.
Okay, are these records that are kept in the ordinary course of business?
Yes.
And it looks like the basis of this tobacco retail permit denial was because there were 3 separate instances specifically of either sale to a minor or sale without check and identification?
Correct.
Okay. I am scrolling down. I'm going to show you a couple code violation notices that correspond to the letter above. The first 2 appear here on what I would like to mark as and move into evidence as C2. They are dated 5/23/2019. Can you tell me what these notices document a violation of?
They were a tobacco sale to minor dated on 5/23/19 that I had my staff write, and then there was a sale without an ID at the time. So 2 tickets were written for that violation date.
Okay. And M. Davis, the issuing officer, you said that that is a person that is on your staff?
Yes.
Okay. Moving to what I would like to mark and enter as C3. These are code violation notices dated 6/28/2019. Can you please describe what these are violation notices for as well?
These were tickets for sale of tobacco to a minor and one without ID. It is 6/28/19 by one of my employees who worked that ticket for them based on the evidence that we had.
Okay. And it appears that that issuing officer is D. Richardson. That is someone that you recognize on your office?
Yes, that's one of
Okay.
my employees.
And then I would like to direct your attention to, I believe we're up to C4, that I would like to mark and move as well. This is a code violation notice dated 8/26/2019. Can you please tell me what this is in reference to?
This was for the sale of tobacco to a minor And this was dated on 8/26/19 was the violation date. That ticket was issued by one of my employees as well.
Okay. In the other two instances, there were also violations noted for failure to check ID, and that is not the case here. If there was a failure to check ID, would that have also been written up as a separate violation notice as well?
Yes.
Okay, so it's not necessarily just that you need both a failure to check ID and a sale to a minor in order to find a violation. It's sufficient just that there is in fact a sale to a minor, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Do you recall whether there were any hearings to appeal any of these notices of violation?
I do not recall.
Okay. Do you typically attend those hearings?
Yes, I did attend them pre-COVID, of course. So there are a lot of them that come before the Office of Administrative Review. I sit as a representative of the case, but I'm not the one that makes the final decision. The Office of Administrative Review makes the final decision.
Okay. Do you know where these violation notices were sent?
They were issued in person. If, as stated, that if there's a reason that we can't get into the business, then we will mail them. But all these were issued in person, because I generally, anyone that was not issued would be mailed, and I'm the one that normally issues those tickets via mail. So all three of my staff was present in this business and issued it to them at the time.
Okay, thank you so much. I have no further questions for Ms. Wilkins.
Okay, Mr. McCreesh, do you have any cross?
Yes, briefly. Ms. Wilkins, you said you weren't aware of any hearings of appeals?
That's correct.
Okay. Would you normally be told of a hearing?
Yes, if what at the time we were with a certain day that you would go for the tobacco hearings, then I would show up at that time. And so I may not know the case ahead of time, but when I get there, then we know what each case is and we review it based on each case.
I would also like to object. I don't believe that she said that she doesn't recall. I think she said that she does not recall whether she was in fact there for any hearings that were held for these notices.
Okay, so noted, overruled. Please proceed.
Are you aware that there was a hearing on October 24th of 2019 for the August 26th violation?
No.
No, okay. And were you aware the fine was reduced to $50 for that case?
No, I don't recall. I don't know that.
All right. And what's the normal fine in this case?
$250 for each violation, for each
All
ticket.
right. And is it typical that they reduce it to $50?
That's up to the hearing masters, what they decide to do. I can't speak on that particular ruling, no.
Okay, no further questions.
All right, thank you. Alrighty, Ms. Reinhardt, do you have additional witnesses?
Not at this time.
Okay, Mr. McCreesh?
Yes, I just called Pauline Lim, who's the owner of the premises, 2901 Anthony Inc.
Is she the corporate president? What's her proper corporate title?
Yeah, she's the president of the company.
Okay, I need to have her sworn if she would raise her right hand. Do you swear a firm testimony you give today be the truth to help you God?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Now you may need to sit closer to the microphone. Okay, please proceed.
Miss Lim, did you appeal the citation you received for 8/26 of 2019?
Yes, I did.
Okay, and did you go to a hearing?
Yes, I did.
All right, and were you represented at that hearing or did you go by yourself?
I represent myself.
Okay, and did you supply video evidence at that hearing?
Objection. I have to object to relevance here because this is a collateral issue. If there,
So noted, Mr. McCreesh, this is a hearing regarding the actions here, not what occurred at that hearing. So if you would please move on.
Yeah, well, her testimony is going to be that.
Well, let's hear her testimony in terms of
Okay.
what action happened regarding the issuance of the ticket and the actions that were taken at the store.
All right. The video for that, did that show that you checked ID?
Yes.
All right. Were you there that day on August 26th?
No. One of my friends that I asked to step in when I was running errands, he checked. We looked at the videos. He double checked the videos and to make sure. And also, a friend of mine, he used the ID scanners to scan the IDs that was provided by that young gentleman.
Mr. McCreesh, do you have that video to introduce as evidence today?
Yes.
No, we don't have you don't have the video.
I do have.
Oh, she does have the video.
Well, it wasn't shared with all of us prior to today.
No, I'm sorry.
So we can't see it then.
Right, no.
Okay, thank you.
And do you know what happened at that hearing?
To scan the ID. That's the time that it issues me a ticket. That's the time that you guys show his ID.
Mm-hmm.
He's 25 years old.
Are we testing? What are we doing?
No, she was just showing me her phone. But you did use a scanner that day.
Yes.
Okay. And what was the result of the hearing when you went to the hearing?
There was two store of mine that has the same ticket at the same time, 15 minutes different. We were there at the hearing for both store. And I showed the videos to the judge, which there was one young man and one African-American woman. I think she's around maybe 40 something years old. And there was a translator, Chinese, which he asked if I would need it to be translated. And I told him I do not need it because I do speak English. So he was present also. There was 3 judges, if I consider calling as witnesses, were there inside the hearing.
Okay, I'm not sure the relevance of those details.
Okay. Do you know what the final result of the hearing was?
At the time, both cases were dropped because I produced evidence showing that the gentleman who bought the tobacco from us were overage because due to their IDs, one was shown, it's the same man who showed me 2 different IDs from 2 different places. One was 32 years old, scanned with the ID scanners, show up 32 years old. He came to the back with the 2901 Anthony Inc. He showed me another IDs to one of my guy, and it shows he's 25 years old. Those are Pennsylvania IDs, sir. And
okay,
how
so
am I?
Just so I'm clear, the testimony from Ms. Lim is that in this case, the individual that you believe was the source of the complaint, his ID scanned to be the over 18.
Yes.
Okay. Now, Mr. McCreesh, do you have any evidence? Do you have any printouts? Do you have any other documentation to confirm this testimony from the witness?
The only thing I do have is something from the hearing date that shows that the penalty was reduced to $50. I don't know why. And that's why I tried to ask Miss Wilkins.
Well, maybe Ms. Lim would be able to tell us why was it reduced to 50?
At the time when I was present during the hearing, I talked to the judge. He said that since I produced the evidence, there shouldn't be any charges at all because I proved to them that we did IDs the gentleman. It shows with verbal, there was voices at the time.
Okay, well, why $50? That's what I'm trying to understand.
I never got that fine. Honestly, the $50 only right now, John printed out. To me, it said dropped and.
Okay, do we have written decision from that administrative hearing?
No, I did not keep it at a time.
Mr. McCreesh?
I have it here. I did, I mean, I don't know if you can see it.
Well, we can't. Was that
Yeah.
submitted at all as
No,
evidence?
I did not submit it. I do have it scanned. But it does say hearing date 10/24/2019, 134, has the case number and has 50, and it says, I think it's because she paid $50 with the appeal.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Anything else?
No.
Your cross-examination for Ms. Reinhardt?
Yes. Ms. Lim, you said that it's your understanding that both cases were dropped. When you say cases, do you mean notices of violation? Or were there two separate cases against two separate businesses?
Two separate businesses, but I show up at the same time. It was they went to one store at 6:25 p.m. and issued us a ticket for that one because stated that he did not ask for ID, but still sold to underage, which was not true. At the time, I had the videos. The reason I got the videos was they did came a couple days later to give me the ticket. So I was able to retrieve my videos. And I had appealed and I show up for both store and the judge heard and seen the videos and they were paused because why? They said that they don't understand how the city works this way where they have a youngster with an extra person. There was a lady who came with him and showed the ID and scanned the IDs. The IDs at the first store stated he was 32. My friend, he was 36 at the time. He said, bro, you're 32, but you look so good. I'm 36. I look so old. You're very good looking for your age. So he said, oh, thank you so much.
Ms. Reinhardt, is that,
excuse me.
Ms. Reinhardt, is that responsive to your question?
I don't need the rest of this information, no. Do you have any written documentation regarding the outcome of that appeal?
It's been a while, I didn't kept it.
Okay, at this point in time, I would request a continuance in order for the parties to obtain written documentation and for me to potentially call a witness in order to clarify this hearing.
Okay, that's a little unusual. Mr. McCreesh, what is your response?
Well, if you want to see, I do have the document, and I got this from the city. They emailed it to me.
But Mr. McCreesh, I'm asking you, what is your response to her request for continuance?
I don't. It's fine with me. It's fine with me because I think.
Okay, let's continue this matter. Now let's have a response. Wait a minute. Do I have a comment from Mr. Pincus?
Yes, I do. If I'm reading the letter and if I'm hearing the testimony correctly, there were 3 sales indicated in the letter denying the renewal of the license. There were sales on 5/23/19. There was a sale without ID on 6/28/2019, and another one on 8/26/2019. What I've heard is testimony that in one of these instances, it was questioned whether or not the sale or the violation was properly issued. But the other 2 violations were not appealed and were not questioned. And the denial letter states you had 2 violations in the course of this period of time, so that even if this appeal was successful to the Board of Adjudication, which it's not clear it was because there was still a fine issued, it seems to me if the appeal was successful, the appeal would have been granted and there would have been no fine. So you still have 2 violations showing that were the basis of the denial of the renewal, and those haven't been proven to be incorrectly issued at this point in time, and that we would have enough information to proceed with the hearing and make a determination.
Okay, Ms. Reinhardt, we're still at the moment, we're arguing the point of your request. We're considering your request for continuance. Based on Mr. Pink's statement, do you want to proceed or continue?
I am prepared to proceed. At this point in time, it's our position that,
Okay, so
the-
withdraw the request for continuance and we'll proceed.
okay, I withdraw that request. Thank you.
Okay, anything else? I think Mr. McCreasy was presenting his case. Mr. McCreasy, you have anything else?
No.
Okay, Ms. Reinhardt, I believe did you complete your cross-examination?
I did, yes. Thank you.
Okay, does anyone else have any questions? I do. And this is to Ms. Lim. Given the first two violations, the one on 5/23/2019 and 6/28/2019, did you pay those fines?
At the time, I did not have any videos. So
That isn't my question. My question to you is, did you pay them?
yes, I did.
Okay, thank you. Anything from anyone else? Okay, I do have a question, Ms. Wilkins. Would you come back? What is this? Would you read to us the rule regarding sales to minors and the impact on the license holder?
The ordinance states that if you have 3 or more tobacco sales to minors in 2 years, then you will lose your permit, your tobacco retailer permit for 1 year.
So it's
then 3, yes, 3 and 2, you lose the tobacco for permit for 1 year, and then if you're eligible, you can reapply. You can apply as brand new after that year suspension, and then now you're treated as brand new, so you're subjected to the school zone and this density cap regulations at that time of application.
Okay, and you are not aware of any of the outcome of any of those proceedings at the administrative hearing?
No, it's possible I could have been at some of these, but this was not one of the things that I prepared for in the testimony to state whether I was there or not there in any particular case.
Okay, thank you. Anything from anyone else? Okay, all right, thank you. With regard then to appeal number HA 2021-002-602-2901, Anthony Eek, appeal sustained.
Appeal sustained.
We haven't heard from our third voter yet.
Mr. Pettit?
I don't believe that we had the opportunity for closing statements.
We're in the midst of voting at this point, Ms. Reinhardt.
Okay.
Mr. Pettit?
It's 2-1, appeal sustained. The appeal has been sustained. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. That concludes my business here today. May I please be excused?
Yes, thank you. Okay, what do we have next?
We have case number 8, appeal number HA 2021-002606, Ronnie Montesino for 5445 to 47 Baltimore Avenue.
Okay, who's representing that matter for the city?
Nakia Clark on behalf of the city of Philadelphia.
Thank you. Who's representing Mr. Montesino?
Yeah, hello.
Mr. Montesino?
Hey, how are you, sir?
Okay.
I want to continue my case. I want to look it for my lawyer.
Okay. This is a request from the appellant. Has this case been continued before?
No.
Ms. Clark?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay.
Thank
Alrighty. Then let's do this then. Based on the appellant's request, is the city okay with having it continued?
Can I just clarify the reasoning for the continuance? Is it to obtain a lawyer for the?
Yes, he needs
entity?
legal counsel to proceed.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, we'll continue this matter then. Okay, thank you very much.
No problem. Thank you, sir.
Ms. Clark, do you have anything else before us?
No,
Thank
that
you.
concludes my business. May I
Okay,
be
thank you.
excused?
Yes, have a good afternoon.
You too.
Okay.
Our final case for the session is case appeal number HA-2021-003995, LQD Inc., Fairdale Smoke Shop, 4011 Fairdale Road, represented by Joseph London.
Okay, who's representing the city in this matter?
Hi, this is Christopher Johnson for the city of Philadelphia.
Good afternoon, Mr. Johnson. Is Mr. London present?
I am present. Good afternoon, Your Honor. My name's Joseph London. I'm here on behalf of LQD, Fairdale Smoke Shop, and I have the president of the company with me, Amara Boris.
Okay, at the time, if he testifies, then we'll swear him in. Otherwise, we will proceed. Okay, Mr. Johnson?
Hi, this is an appeal of a denial of a tobacco retailer permit for the property that's located at 4011 Fairdale. I'm going to be calling two witnesses today. First, I would like to call Jody Wilkins, and later I'm going to be calling Megan Ferris, both from the Department of Health. So the city calls Jody Wilkins.
Okay, Ms. Wilkins, did you raise your right hand so that you may be sworn? Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give today be the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
All right, thank you. Okay, Mr. Johnson?
Ms. Wilkins, what is your position with the Department of Health?
I'm sanitary supervisor with the City of Philadelphia Health Department, tobacco enforcement. I am a part of my course of business is to deny and approve tobacco retailer permits for those who sell tobacco and cigarette products.
And did you have a recent denial involving 4011 Fairdale Avenue, business at that location?
Yes.
Could you please tell us what happened there?
At this point, the last permit on file was for 2020. One of the employees went to do an inspection. I actually was not even here at the job at the time, but they were doing a food inspection, and they were checking the tobacco status, and it comes to find out that they did not renew for 2021. So therefore,
I would object to that testimony, move that it be stricken. I mean, she's talking about somebody else.
What is the basis of the objection?
It's clearly hearsay. She said that somebody else went to the property, inspected the property, and they weren't operating with a license.
Okay, Ms. London, we accept hearsay in certain instances, so that's overruled. Please proceed.
You testified earlier that you're responsible for the approval or denial of tobacco retailer permits. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, so you say that there was a permit on file for 2020.
Yes.
So is that for a calendar year from January 1st until the end of 2020?
Yes.
When do renewals typically occur?
Renewals start in August. From August 1 to November 1 is the on-time payment for $300. And from November 2nd to December 31st is a $50 late fee. So they can still renew until the end of December, and then renewal season ends.
Did the city receive a renewal application from this applicant, LQD, before the end of 2020?
No.
Okay. And you had a chance to review the files before testifying here today, is that right?
Right.
So once someone fails to renew, what happens then?
Then they can apply as a new applicant. And with being a new applicant, they are subjected to the school zone and density caps. So then they've lost their grandfather status that they had previously, and now they now are new.
I'm going to object to that testimony. I don't think she's qualified.
On the basis, what's your basis, sir?
I don't think she's qualified. That's a legal issue as to whether or not.
So noted, overruled. Please proceed.
Ms. Wilkins, did your unit ever receive a renewal application from LQD?
Renewal application, no.
So did a new application come in 2021?
They could have applied, but it's a school zone, so it would have blocked them.
Okay, so I'm gonna Did you have any personal interaction with LQD, the owner, or anything during that time period? Did they call your unit?
I did not speak to anyone during that period of time. It was after they submitted the request for the blur hearing that I'd spoken to the attorney.
Okay. When the renewal period comes around, does the department notify the license holder of the need to renew?
Yeah, there's letters, email are sent out, one in August, one in October, and then one in December with a physical mailing to the mailing address on file for the third and final December one, the letter. So all those were sent out. So, and if it was an email that bounced or something like that, then we would take care of that.
I'm going to ask to share my screen at this time. The department has prepared a number of exhibits in this case. And
Your Honor, I hate to be a pest, but if they're going to show an exhibit, shouldn't I have seen the exhibit beforehand?
Yes, I believe you. Didn't you receive those exhibits?
I did not receive any exhibits.
Okay.
Not one exhibit from them.
I
wasn't told who the people are that were going to testify either.
I was under the impression that this and these exhibits were prepared by Jason Greenspan in preparation for the hearing back in September. I was under the impression that he had sent them already to counsel.
No, he didn't.
So I will share them with what's your email address?
Well,
wait. Let's back up a minute before we do
I
that.
objected to the introduction of the exhibits.
Let's do this. Is Mr. Greenspan available? Is he?
No, he's not available.
Okay, so counsel did not receive any of the notices or anything prior to now. Mr. London, when were you retained as counsel?
I was retained in August of 2021.
Is it possible someone else is representing the firm before you?
No, I'm the only one here, Your Honor. I'm the only. I'm by myself.
No, I'm saying the company may have retained someone else.
No, he wouldn't have retained anybody else. This is my client. I can ask him, but I'm sure he did.
Ask him.
Did you retain anybody else besides me? No.
Okay. Mr. Johnson, in the interest of fairness, the appellant's counsel should have access to all the documents you're going to use to present today. Unless I'm crossing the line that I don't understand. Wait, let me finish. It's important that we have everybody have a fair chance to make their arguments based on their documentations. Unless I hear from someone else, just put things on hold just for a minute.
I would agree with that. And if it's the case that the city would be denied the opportunity to make a record regarding the reason for the denial in this case due to that, we're going to ask for a continuance because I do have documents that are necessary in order for us to make a record in this case.
Okay. We're going to continue this matter.
Well, can I object to that? Because this is the second time.
Well, you can't have it both ways. Either you're going to continue it so you can see everything and make your case, or we're going to proceed and you will have to live with what you get.
I'm going to live with what I get, then.
Okay, let's proceed.
I'm going to live with what I get.
Let's proceed. Mr. Johnson?
Okay, I'm going to share my screen. And what I have are exhibits that have been marked, and there's only, I believe, 4 exhibits that are marked. And the first one is, do you recognize this, Ms. Wilkins?
Yes, it is an email to remind of the business of the renewal for 2021.
And when was that sent?
August 7th, 2020.
And that account, it says from Health PTRD. What is that account?
That's a email account that is the standard email used for the health department to communicate to retailers about their tobacco status.
Okay. So would that be the first notice that the department would send regarding the renewal period for tobacco retailers?
Correct, yes.
Okay. And Exhibit B is another email that, what is this email?
This email is dated October 1st, 2020 is the second reminder that they need to renew their permit for 2021.
So this was sent on what day?
October 1st, 2020.
And how about this third exhibit? This is another email. What is this?
This is the third email, final email dated December 1st, 2020, to let them know the business needs to renew their permit for 2021. And then also there's a mailed copy that's sent as well.
So which one is sent by mail?
The December 1st.
Would that be the only one?
Yes.
Okay. So that's the normal business practice of your unit, would you say, to mail the third copy only?
Yeah, that's correct.
And do you know what address they would be mailing that to?
It would be to the mailing address that's above on the top under December 1st, 2020. That's the mailing address. That's where the renewal notice would go.
So in this case, you're referring to the LQD Incorporated 371 Calmia Street, Warminster, PA. Where would the department get that address?
It was given when they applied for the permit.
So that's the address they would give to the department for all official correspondence?
Right.
So these three emails went out to the appellant.
Yes.
In 2020.
Correct.
Okay. And again, did they submit any application during 2020?
No.
Okay. I am going to ask Ms. Wilkins briefly. So once it becomes a new application, would you know whether you could approve an application at this location after that point?
If it's when it's a school zone issue, then if they put their information into the application online system, it's going to block them to tell them that they're in a school zone, and I don't see the application.
Okay,
And
so
then,
you would never, if it's in a school zone, you would never even get the application?
Correct.
So the system effectively denies them before you even see the application.
Exactly. And then if they need clarification or need something, like in this case, when it was noted that it was in a school zone, then they can file an appeal through their help.ptrd. And that's what their other correspondence was related to. Once they got that decision, then they can forward to appeal.
And is that what happened in this case?
Yes.
And so the department's position is they're not eligible to apply because they're in a school zone?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, sir. What's the basis of the objection?
I mean, she's giving a legal conclusion. I mean.
Well, she's responding to the course. Okay.
She's offering the department's position. That's not a legal conclusion.
Wait. So noted. Objections overruled. Let's proceed.
My objection is this.
It's so noted, and I've overruled. I heard you the first time.
Okay.
So let's move on.
I have nothing further for Ms. Wilkins.
Okay, Sir, do you have any cross-examination for Ms. Wilkins?
Yes, I do.
Yes, please.
Ms. Wilkins, do you know whether any of the emails actually got to my client?
I would not know that.
Do you know whether or not, did you send by certified mail the letter that you mailed?
The health department mails them. I'm not personally responsible for the mail, so I cannot state how it was done.
And do you know that the place has been in business since 2012?
They've been permitted for that long, yes.
And every year they renew their application?
Yes, I agree.
And was this a COVID year in which you extended the deadline?
There was a COVID year, but it was no extension.
Were you in the office?
Yes,
Were you in the office during this entire period of time?
yes, I have, yes.
Okay. And did you, well, I heard you say, because I was here, that you personally deliver things. Did you personally deliver any one of these emails or the mail?
Did I personally deliver any emails or mail? No, I did not personally know.
Do you know whether they were operating at the time?
I did not go, I have not been to the premises, so I would not be able to tell you that.
All right. Have there ever been any violations with regard to that property?
I haven't checked their violation history, so I can't speak on that.
Are you aware whether or not they sold any high school or school age children?
I haven't evaluated that as well. So I cannot speak on that.
And with regard to the school zone, are you saying that, what is the permit requirement for a new permit? If you got a new permit, what would be the school zone requirement?
500 feet from a school.
Okay, and
K through 12.
How do you measure the 500 feet?
I can't speak on that.
All right, and do you know the distance between the front door of the school and the shop at Fairdale Street?
I can't speak on that.
Would you have any reason to doubt if I told you that it's 4/10 of a mile?
I'm going to objection. It's not relevant.
Yeah, Ms. Lund, she's answered that question 2 different times.
Okay. I withdraw the question. Now, you did communicate with me, and you told me that the application would be denied. Isn't that what you said?
When it's in a school zone, it definitely would be denied, yes.
Okay. All right. So you don't know whether that application was ever made, and you don't know when it was made.
As stated before, when you do it online, it's going to automatically block you. So I wouldn't even see an application. But if there's any further communications directly, I would then tell them what the decision is. Even if they didn't do it online, or confirm that, what they saw was accurate.
Mm-hmm. So did you indicate to me that that you or anyone in the department would not approve the application?
In a school zone, it would not be approved.
Okay. Now, in any one of those 3 emails that you sent, or that was sent by your department, was there any indication in any of those emails that if you don't renew your license this time, it'll be considered to be a new permit? It'll be considered to be a new permit, and you won't be able to get your license.
That's not something that might have been written in the letter, but it's understood because everybody knows there's a time frame to which the renewal season ends and begins.
What?
So, I mean, as you stated, the business has been around for multiple years, so they should be quite aware of the urgency of renewing the permit.
All right. Well, did you personally or anybody in your department ever inform by mail or email that if you don't renew this permit this time, that it's going to be considered to be a new permit and you're within a school zone and we're not going to allow it?
That determination is not stated in the renewal, no.
All right. Do you know why it's not in the renewal?
I didn't write the renewal letter, so I can't speak on that.
Do you know why nobody tried to personally deliver the notice?
None of them are delivered. I mean, I have several thousand stores to go to. If anybody personally delivered each one of them in the middle of COVID, that wasn't going to happen at all. All throughout the recent seasons has always been emailed, and the last one mailed, so that we can alarm them to say, hey, please renew. As you stated in the evidence, it said final reminder right on that last one. So from August to December, that's several months for the renew. I don't think that would that's not a month or 2, it's several months. So it gives them ability to renew. We notify them each one. The email didn't bounce back, because if that was the case, we would have been resent it or contacted them, say, hey, your email bounced. We need to notify you and let you know. That's the only way I would normally communicate it. If that was not indicated to me, that means that we assume they received all 3.
Mm-hmm. And you didn't send the mail by certified mail?
As stated, I don't handle the mailing, so I don't know whether it was certified. That may be for another witness.
All right. I have nothing further to this witness.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Johnson, anything else?
No.
Mr. London?
Well, wait, I'm going to call, I have nothing else for Miss Wilkins. I'm going to call Megan Ferris.
Oh, okay. My apologies then.
Sorry.
Who is the next witness?
The city is going to call Megan Ferris.
Okay. Ms. Ferris, would you unmute yourself and raise your right hand so that you may be sworn?
Yes, sir.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give today be the truth so help you God?
I do.
All right, thank you. You can place your hand down.
Hi, Ms.
Okay.
Ferris, could you please tell us what your position with the city is?
I'm an assistant manager of research and analytics at the Health Department of Philadelphia. I oversee many data analysis tasks, including the database we maintain on permitted Philadelphia tobacco retailers.
And are you familiar with how the city would be determining whether a particular location is within a school zone?
Yes, I am.
Is that part of the responsibilities of your position?
Yes, it is.
And do you work on each retailer location individually, or do you provide some sort of mapping system for the database? How does that work?
There is a mapping system built into the online application. If they appeal, we will look into it, as they've done in this case, and prepare a map, as was done for this hearing. But each one is not individually looked into. When they enter their address, a geo-processing tool built into the online application will geolocate them on the map and compare them to our school zones to see if they're in or out of the school zone.
Have you are you familiar with how the city calculates if two locations are within 500 feet of each other as under the Department of Health's regulation related to tobacco retailers?
Yes, there's a 500-foot buffer zone around the parcel that the school sits on that is drawn by an ArcGIS geoprocessing tool. ArcGIS is the industry standard for conducting these sorts of geospatial data tasks. And the parcel layer is maintained by Philadelphia Water Department, and the locations of the schools are maintained by the Philadelphia Department of Planning and Development.
So in terms of determining the location of one property to another, where is the measurement between the parcels?
From the closest straight line between the edge of the school zone parcel and the edge of the parcel that the tobacco retailer is located on.
And did you create a map regarding this location?
Yes, we did.
I'm going to share the map at this time, and it's Exhibit E within the department's exhibits. Okay, Ms. Ferris, can you see the document that's marked as Exhibit E?
Yes.
And could you tell us what this document shows?
Yes, this document shows the parcel outlined in blue, which is 4011 Fairdale Road. It's called Fairdale Smoke Shop. And then it shows, sorry, I'm going to get closer. The parcel for Arts Academy at Benjamin Rush, which is the K-12 school that exists within. So the pink, you might call it red area, is the school zone where new tobacco retailers aren't allowed to get permits to sell tobacco. And so you can see that 4011 Fairdale Road is well within the boundary of the school zone.
And what is the distance calculated by measuring the distance between the parcel line of the school to the parcel line of 4011 Fairdale Road?
About 118 feet, 118.07 feet.
And did you create this map?
I created this map in conjunction with our lead GIS analyst.
You're fading off. Excuse me, I can't hear you.
Ms. Rush, I'm sorry, Ms. Paris, we can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Speak up a little bit. I couldn't hear.
Yeah, you need to speak a little louder and maybe closer to the microphone. And Mr. Johnson, if you would ask that question again, please.
So did you create this map?
No, I did not.
Who created the map?
Nikisa Johnson, a woman I direct supervise.
Okay. And did you review it before it was sent to the law department?
I did. I reviewed, double checked and approved the map.
Okay. I have nothing further.
Okay. So Mr. Lunda, you have any cross?
Yeah, I do have a couple questions. Do you know where the students exit from the school?
You want me to keep sharing?
Yes, please leave that up, please.
Okay.
Do you know where the students exit from the school and what school we're talking about?
We're talking about the Arts Academy at Benjamin Rush.
Okay. Do you know what door they come out of?
I don't know what door they typically use. I assume that there are doors on most sides of the school.
All right. And if I were to tell you that the Google map says that the distance between 4110 Fairdale Street and the door to where the kids leave is 2,112 feet, would you have any reason to doubt that?
Yes, based on this map, I would doubt that.
Okay. So what do you consider to be a buffer zone? What does a buffer zone mean?
I'm going to object. I don't know what the relevance of that question is.
Well, the relevance is she said it was 500 feet from a buffer zone. In this buffer
No,
zone.
I don't think that was her testimony. I think it's, well, let me, I'll rescind my
Maybe I'm
comment.
wrong. Did you indicate it was 500 feet from a school buffer zone?
We refer to the school zone as a buffer. It's a buffer around the school parcel. So it's 500 feet from the edge of the parcel where the K through 12 school is located.
Okay. Where what school is located?
Arts Academy at Benjamin Rush.
Okay. So do you know where that starts? The buffer zone?
It starts, you can see the green outline around the Arts Academy in this map. It starts at the green outline.
All right. Do you have anything to do, you yourself, with the renewal of permits with the city of Philadelphia?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
Do you yourself have anything to do with the renewal of tobacco permits with the city of Philadelphia?
I do not review applications. I maintain the data that we use to keep records of permits and the geodata here that we use.
All right, I have nothing.
To create maps.
Okay. Thank you very much. Mr. Johnson, you have anything else?
Let me just check my notes for 1 second. I have nothing further.
Okay.
I'm going to ask that the city's exhibits be admitted at this time.
Okay. So they will be included in the record. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. London?
Yes, I'd like to call my client. Does he need to be sworn? Or?
Yes. Would you give us his name, please?
Yeah, Amar Boris. He's the president of LQD Fairdale Smoke Shop.
Okay. Would you spell that name, please?
Amar, A-M-M-A-R, Aboras, A-B-O-U-R-A-S.
Boris. Okay. Mr. Boris, would you raise your right hand so that you may be sworn? Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give today be the truth to help you God?
Can I switch seats with him? It'll probably be better.
Okay.
I'll switch. No, go ahead. Go ahead. Mr. Boris, you're the owner of.
That's right.
Well, we didn't complete the process yet. Mr. Boris, let's swear you in. Do you swear affirm the testimony you give today be the truth to help you God?
I will.
All right, thank you. Okay.
Mr.
Mr.
Boris,
London?
Can you hear me all right? Because I moved a little bit.
Yes.
You're the owner of a Fairdale smoke shop.
Yes.
LQD Inc., is that correct? And how long have you been the owner?
This is 2012.
And did you get a permit to operate the smoke shop in 2012?
Yes, I did.
And when you first got that permit, did we invite the community in to discuss your smoke shop?
We did.
Do we have final approval from the community?
Yes.
And did you at any point sell cigarettes to minors?
Not at all.
What did you do to prevent the sale of cigarettes to minors?
Put a sign in the door, state that there is no kids. Nobody over, before it used to be 18 to go in, and later it's at 21. And as soon as we see somebody in, we try to check his ID.
All right. Have you ever had any problem with children coming into the store?
No, they don't come.
All right. And could you tell us what happened in 2019 and 2020? Was that a year of COVID?
Year of COVID, and it's the worst year of my life, actually.
Could you explain to the court what was the problem?
Health problem, mom problem, again, like 70 pound, sit at home, worry about my kids, my family. It's really scary to go outside and contact people, it's like he was hiding at home, just do nothing. You feel unable to do anything. My mom, she's dying. She has a heart failure and lung failure. I gain weight now. I have a problem because my weight is over state now, over COVID. And we forgot, I mean, I didn't do any crime. It's just a mistake. I'm sorry. My whole family would be
How many children do you have?
Mr. London, I really would like you to focus in on this matter that's before us, which is the appeal of the denial. So if you direct your questions more directly, please.
All right. Did we put in Google Maps the distance between the school and your shop? And did we arrive at a figure of 2,112 feet?
Exactly, that's what happened. They can even measure it with Google Map themselves.
And is there only one exit way for the children to come out of the school?
Yeah, it's across from Night Road. I mean, it's like, it's not on the Night Road. It's, only one exit, I believe. I mean, I see one exit.
All right. Did you get anybody were you extended any time period within which to appeal that you were aware of?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
Did you get any extensions of time within which to?
No, I could not log in into my account to renew it.
All right.
We were, what happened, we supplied a state license and it was late. And even, I can show you my phone, they say, I have a problem with my, background. And even, I called them a few times.
Okay,
late. And,
well, wait a minute, Mr. London, what is the appellant testifying to? I'm not certain.
The appellant's testifying to that in order to get a city license, you need to first get a state license. You couldn't get the state license because the state license wasn't available.
And it was
okay.
late.
But how did that impact on his ability to submit a renewal application for his city license?
Well, he couldn't renew it until he got the state license. He finally got the state license, and that's the time when he renewed it.
Maybe I can get my phone.
Wait. I don't think that's been established as a fact, but okay. So your position here, your legal argument is that he did not submit a renewal because he did not have his state license.
Well, that's one of the reasons why.
Okay.
It's also during COVID, And then also your shop was shut down, was it not?
Yeah,
And for how many months was the shop shut down?
like 4 months, 4 or 5 months.
And was the city available for anybody in the city to talk to in the city?
I mean, I was worried about my life. I was not worried about anything else at that time. I was not even want to talk to anybody. I was worried about the whole family, everybody.
Now, when you attempted to renew and you needed to get your state, like when you found out you hadn't renewed, you attempted to get your state license to make sure it was ready for the city.
Exactly.
And you did get your state license.
Yeah, but it took a while.
All right. And then you attempted to renew.
Yeah.
And you filed an application.
Exactly.
It was at that point that you found out that you weren't allowed to renew.
Exactly.
And did they ever tell you, did anybody ever tell you you couldn't renew because this would be considered to be a new permit?
Not at all. I wish somebody said.
Had you been informed that it was going to be considered to be a new permit and you were going to be subject to the rules and regulations of a new permit, would you have acted quicker, or could you have acted any quicker?
I mean, I thought I will be grandfather because I got the license before this law change.
Right.
So I never thought I will be like a new applicant.
Right. And did you consider yourself a new applicant?
No.
Do you know why the city considers you to be a new applicant?
I mean, I'm sorry, but no, I don't believe I'm a new. I've been in business since 2012. Right. And I love my community. I love the people to serve them. I love everybody. And I have kids. I worry about them. I don't want them to smoke.
Mr. London, would you direct your client to answer the question, please? And not to stray off.
You didn't consider this to be a new permit, and nobody ever informed you that this would be considered to be a new permit.
Nobody to go for it. No.
All right. Did anybody ever revoke your license for any reason?
No.
All right. Were you willing to pay the extra fee if there was a fee for a new application fee?
New application or my application? To be
Your application and in a new application fee. I have nothing further than this.
Okay, Mr. Johnson, you have any cross?
Just briefly,
Mr. Sir, please
a couple questions, sir. So just quickly, you testified that you first opened this store in 2004. Is that correct?
No, 2012.
12. Okay. And that's about the same time as the city first started requiring a tobacco retailer permit, correct?
I believe so.
Yeah. And so you got your tobacco retailer permit and you renewed it every year successfully until 2020. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Now, in 2020, you testified that you shut down. Is that correct?
Yeah, we required.
Okay. And when was the period you were shut down again?
I don't remember right now. It's like from June, from March to August almost.
Okay, so you were back up and running and everything was going smoothly in August.
Yeah.
Okay. I have nothing further.
But I have a question. Maybe other board members have questions as well. Ms. Wilkins, would you unmute yourself and respond to this, please? What does the impact of the state license have on the city's renewal process?
He was correct in stating that generally you do need a state license as well as the city permit. However, as a part of the renewal application itself, the online application, that is not a required field in order for him not to have gone through. The required field is the permit number, which is issued on the active permit, and the BERT number, which is their Philadelphia tax account. Those are the two required fields in order to renew. Yes,
Okay.
having a state license is required, but it's not, it's not like he wouldn't have passed.
Okay.
We would check that at a later time.
Okay, so in effect, a holder of a tobacco sales license can renew it by filling in those fields that you just mentioned.
Yes.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Sir, Mr. The owner, Mr. Abreu, and I apologize if I mispronounced your name. Who normally handles the renewal of your various licenses, et cetera, for the city and the state and other jurisdictions?
My accountant.
Your accountant. So the emails that you received from the city regarding your license for your tobacco sales, did you forward those on to your accountant?
I have one of them, yeah. I only saw one. I forwarded to him.
Okay, when he received or he or she received the email, what happened?
You know, he was working on the state license, and maybe he was overwhelmed with this situation with the COVID. I could not go to his office because, you know, everybody was worried. You know, 2020, it was really rough year.
And so do you recall when you forwarded that information to your accountant?
Yeah, I have it on my phone. That's I forwarded to him.
Was that as soon as you received it from the city or some later date?
I can find out.
Okay, but you don't know offhand. Okay, and so your accountant did not submit the information quickly enough for to meet the deadline. Is that correct?
Exactly.
Okay. All right, anyone else have anything? Okay. Mr. Pincus, you're muted. You're still muted.
I know.
Okay.
I just want to confirm, Mr. Barusa, you did in fact receive at least one of the notifications from the city to renew your license. Is that correct?
I saw one, like I said.
You saw one. You received at least one. You may have gotten others, but you know you saw one.
I didn't receive those, honestly.
Okay, but you did receive one of the notices.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I forwarded to my accountant.
Okay.
Okay. And have you, Mr. Burris, have you asked your accountant what happened?
Like that's what he said. He said he was waiting for the state license, and he said we have time, and maybe he got caught with this COVID, and I have no idea. But
Okay.
That's what happened.
Okay. Okay.
And we
Is there anything for anyone else? Okay. Well, any final comments from anyone?
Could I make a comment?
Sure, please.
Yeah, I think I have a legal argument, all right? And my legal argument is this. If there is a rule and regulation that says that you should be considered to be a new applicant, then I think that rule and regulation is unconstitutional. And because it's taking away a right that you have. He had a right to be in that place. He didn't violate anything at all. I mean, he never sold to minors. He's got no violations there. And what they're doing is taking away his right to live. They can't consider you to be a new member after you've been there since 2012. You know, the city may say you're a new member, but any rule or regulation that attempts to take away your right to a livelihood can't be constitutional at all. I mean, there is case law on that. There's case law with regard to regulations. There's case law with regard to statutes. You can't have an ex post facto law. You can't have an ex post facto regulation.
Okay.
And I think it's totally excusable, everything that occurred in here.
Mr. London?
Yes.
If I may, while you are making this particular argument, I'd just like to point out that this is an administrative board and that our responsibility is to hear an appeal and determine factually if the argument and the information that's being submitted is accurate. And if in fact there is a constitutional argument or some legal argument, that would serve as the basis of a further appeal, because the appeal from this board is to the Court of Common Pleas. Legal arguments are raised. We really don't have authority as a board to determine constitutional issues or the validity of a statute or regulation or an ordinance. Our responsibility is to determine whether or not the actions taken by a department have been properly taken and are supported by whatever information or facts or testimony is presented. I just want to make you aware of that.
can I respectfully disagree with that?
Okay.
I don't mean to challenge what your thinking is, but I do believe that everybody has the right, any board has the right to determine whether or not a rule or regulation is constitutional. You not only determine the facts, but you also determine whether the facts fall within the proper outlines of the law. Now, you can't have a regulation that takes away your livelihood.
Okay. Mr. London, we appreciate your argument. We've heard it, and it's on the record. And these are closing comments. So,
All right.
Mr.
I'm not being disrespectful.
Oh no, not suggesting that you are. Just
right.
wanted to have us move on. Mr. Johnson, do you have any final comments before we bring this to a close?
I apologize. My connection was lost there for a second while the counsel was making his argument, so I didn't catch any of it for the record. I would just like to say that this is a case that is not really new to the board. We've seen cases before where people have, due to some mistake or misplacement or bad decisions or bad management, failed to renew on time, and it has been consistently held that, as required by the Philadelphia Code in section, the tobacco retailer permit section, that is treated as a new application. Additionally, with regard to the school zone, I believe the reg is extremely clear that it's measured from one stormwater parcel line to the other. And with the license, it's a one-year term. The only right an individual has to the license is for that year term, unless it's renewed on time. And to that extent, we would ask the board to city affirm and uphold the denial.
Okay, thank you very much. If there's nothing else, with regard to appeal number HA 2021-003995, the LQD Inc. Fairdale Smoke Shop, we will poll the board. City affirm.
City affirm.
City affirm.
City affirm. The unanimous vote of the board is city affirm. Mr. London, you may appeal this decision should you choose, as previously noted. Thank you very much for your participation. Thank you, everyone. I'd ask the board to remain for executive session. I think that closed our business for today.
Yes, it does.